Today on the Hire Me podcast, I have with me Barrett Ziegler. I am ready to jump right in and learn about how Barrett could be your next great hire and professional connection. Welcome, Barrett. Let's start with our first question. Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Heather, for that intro. Like she said, my name is Barrett Ziegler. I have just like a real passion for the legislative and regulatory space, legs and regs, as we call them. And my experience is largely in data privacy and the healthcare space, but I've also worked in industry groups to assess and digest the legs and regs that pose a potential impact to their stakeholders.
I'm fascinated. So with all of these legs and regs, is that what you said?
Legs and regs,
Oh,
yeah.
I love this. I love these things. So with that, what type of role are you looking for?
I would love work as a legislative specialist or a legislative officer. However, like the flip side of it that not a lot of people consider is compliance, which is kind of being the internal legislative monitor, legislative officer. So both of those I find very appealing because they're working with this like systemic legs and regs.
Oh gosh. Well, I can already start to hear and feel the passion that you have for what you do. So what is it that you really love about this work?
What got me into the legislative and regulatory space initially was this passion for helping people understand. I found that even though we have a legal system that treats everybody the same, not everyone has the same fluency in it. And so coming from my undergrad was in Russian, and so I was used to translating. And so I brought that translation mindset to this legislative monitoring work that I started doing in law school. And I love the projects of trying to distill legalese down into, so what? Why does this matter to me? Why should I be concerned about this? And if I should be concerned, what can I do about it? And I love helping people play an active role in how their lives, how their careers, how their industries are managed by governance.
I have no words for how, I want to dive in so deep right now, but we can't on this podcast. 'Cause
We could do a follow-up or like special
you
episode.
Anybody, if y'all are watching, if y'all want to know more, let us know in the comments because I'm fascinated and want to dive in deeper than I can on this podcast. Okay, so in doing this work, right? It's always good to have a good culture and a good leader. So what type of leadership and culture will help you thrive?
I have worked in a number of different office cultures, and not only can I say what I love, I can say what I hate. And when working with legislation and regulation, you come across topics that can seem very tangential to your main specialty. So for instance, when I was working at the Pennsylvania News Media Association, yes, we worked with newspapers and websites, but then there was a tariff change on how Canadian lumber pulp was imported, and so that would change how newspapers are priced. And so I find that working in a collaborative environment really helps leverage the different specialties of the team. And so having that ability to, yes, operate on your own, but have that office openness that you can access everybody's well of experience, of knowledge, of interest. As far as management styles, I thrive best when it's less of, let's say, like a boss worker hierarchy and more of like a mentor mentee or mentor charge type of culture. Even in my current work, we have I'm temping at a tax agency, and we have people coming in and out all the time, and there's so much institutional knowledge that can get lost just from being on the job, that having this open door policy really helps that flow of information go much less hindered in the beginning.
Oh, all right. So in terms of you're in the right culture, you've got the right leadership, what are those problems that you can solve for companies?
What's great about a legs and regs skill set is it's kind of topic agnostic. So in my experience, yes, I can focus on pending legislation or case law or, administrative law issues. But I've also been able to look at how companies operate internally. And so understanding where I fit and other products sit in the pipeline, I've been able to identify opportunities to eliminate waste, redundancy. There was one project I took on while I was at Capital Blue Cross that allowed us to transition our like subpoena and agency documents to entirely digital, which saved the legal department all those paper costs and staple costs, which is the biggest expense for any legal department. And it also had us in a really good position for when the pandemic hit and everyone went remote, because that process wasn't impacted. So yeah, I there's some project management experience, there's some legislative and regulatory experience, but really it's a systemic focus that I bring. So if you're dealing with systems, let me give it a once over, please.
Okay, we're at our final question, Barrett. Tell us what matters to you. What are your values?
When I'm most passionate about my work, it's when I feel that I'm doing a systemic good with a big G. So like my work with the Pennsylvania News Media Association, when I knew I was helping the citizens of the Commonwealth be informed by supporting their reporters. Essentially, I want to leave the world better than I found it. Which is why I got into law in the first place. I wanted people to be able to participate meaningfully in their system. As far as in the workplace, I like to bring this never stop learning attitude, because in legs and rags, as I've kind of hinted at, you never know what's going to come across your desk. So I'm constantly learning. I put a lot of emphasis on teamwork, because I think the best comes when we work together, when we lift each other up, when we, like I said before, leverage these different life experiences. And I think, too, bringing a measure of humility to the legs and regs space. I mean, even the legal departments inside your company allows for a unique type of communication that I've really appreciated. It's no longer like the legal department being the no department, right? It's that humility of coming down and appreciating that other people's work is just as important as yours, and that if we're in the same organization, we're on the same team. So come to me and let me see what I can do for you. Like, let's make this happen for you.
Barrett wants to make sure that your company is not scared to ask a legal question. That is what Barrett can do for you. Oh, Barrett, thank you so much for coming on the Hire Me podcast. It was so great to learn about you and your skills and how you'll bring value to your next role. I'm definitely following up with you because I'm super intrigued about what you do. But for those of you who are watching or listening, be sure that you connect with Barrett through the link in the description and the show notes. And make sure that you subscribe, follow, and like our content here on the Hire Me podcast so we can continue elevating more of today's top talents. Take care, everyone. Bye.